Hey there, fellas. Check out what I got. You'd remember this wonderful thing. It's that silicone mold we used to cast a transparent engine. That experiment didn't end well, the engine blew to smithereens. You ready? Let's do this. It blew up, but screw it. What matters is that we still have the mold, and that is a good place to start. And since we still have it, we have some resin, as well as our resolve. Let's go ahead and make another transparent engine block. And hopefully we can actually make it work this time around. Okay, let's do this. Transparent Engine version 2 first start. Translation and voiceover by BMI Russian. Alright, so it's been a week, maybe even more. Anyway, we've given it enough time for the resin to cure the full 107%. Now it's just a matter of cracking the mold open. And no matter how we try to get this sealed, it still leaks. No worries, I guess. The important thing is for the level in here to be on point. In theory, there shouldn't be any air inside of there. Careful. Right. We have opened the suitcase. Check this out, guys. Here's where we are with the build, it's all looking good. But last time we were also quick to get to this stage. We've attached the cylinder head, which we've stuck on with some sealant. The crank and the rotating assembly are in place. And here's something else we've decided to do. We've removed a ring from each piston. Now you'd recall that last time we fitted rubber rings to prevent the cylinder walls from getting all scratched up. We already know that rubber rings will work fine and preserve the cylinder wall's transparency. And the block itself, we've actually made it a bit taller, by about 8/10. The reason behind that being, well, since we are using a sealant and not installing a head gasket, the idea is to slightly increase, to reduce the compression. Why though? Well, last time we did this, we tried starting the engine and the material blew up into little pieces. The resin, the liquid glass failed. And at this stage in the assembly process, we are faced with the difficult decision of how we deal with this issue. Allow me to elaborate. The crankshaft, the cylinder head, we need to somehow intertwine them. So the block in our case will essentially act as a sort of spacer, I guess. We'll have to make it so that it bears minimal load. We already know that the threads don't go well with the bolts, which is to say the thread gets sheared right off. And as such, the cylinder head and the crank have to be connected somehow. So this time we've decided not to fit an oil pump. Pour in any oil and what have you. This engine doesn't have any oil galleries, and it's obvious that it's not going to be running for too long. It won't be under any load, and we should have sufficient lubrication. And since we won't be filling this engine with any oil, that means we won't really need an oil pan, which is why we've decided that we'll be running a sort of plate underneath the engine. Of about this size. It'll be made of steel. We're gonna have some studs attached to it. And through here we'll have pins going to the crank bed. And up here we'll also make a sort of cage that's going to be tied to the cylinder head. And from there we're going to build a sort of exoskeleton. So the end goal is for the block to act as a simple spacer that won't be bearing any sort of load, aside from whatever impact the cylinder walls sustain from within the combustion chambers. So given the sort of setup we are going for, it won't have to perform any duties aside from that. So yeah, this is where things start to get a bit difficult. Now let's carry on. And here's where we're at with this. We've set up a foundation. The crankshaft, we got that all nice and secure. Here's some rebar that we've used to secure the cylinder head. And the block itself is essentially just sort of a spacer. It's not under any sort of stress, aside from what's created by the mixture igniting, the combustion that pushes the piston downwards. Everything is ready, we're looking good. We've got everything hooked up. We've got a fuel supply, we've pumped some fuel in. Batteries connected, cameras filming. Shall we? Where you at? Alright, we gotta get a power supply going. Starter motor ignition. And I've got the main starter wire right here. Oh, wait a second. After that previous experience, I'm afraid it might blow to smithereens again. Hopefully it doesn't. Okay, are we good? You ready? Here we go. Wait a second. We saw spark and combustion. So last time when we attempted to start a similar engine, we tried, I mean to say we used Quick Start. But this time we won't be repeating that same mistake. Shall we continue? Why so quiet? And we've got a problem. You're about to see it. There. God damn it! I don't get why it cracked. Anyway, let's have a look. It's about to happen. Okay, so... Wow, it cracked immediately, holy cow. As soon as it pushed... Ignition timing is a bit too late. That's what you call late? Yeah, look. The piston makes it to TDC, and check this out. As soon as combustion occurs, well, that is in fact TDC. It had to be slightly before that. It doesn't have to be premature. Well, yeah, of course. Well, let's do this. It runs, yay! This is pretty cool. We got there. Granted, it only ran for a few seconds, but at the end of the day, it ran for a few seconds and didn't self-destruct. That is terrific. It runs, yay! Okay, so second attempt, and it was a success. But we'd better try again, the footage isn't all that great. Okay, ready? Let it rip. That was scary, but it worked. What fell off? I don't know. What fell off? I do think I saw something flash in the bottom part. Fourth attempt. Right, guys, here's the situation. This turned out great. At the end of the day, this worked, and though we didn't have it running for too long, we did have enough time to film a running engine, and you'd happily spend some time observing how it operates. It is quite mesmerizing. I mean, we all know how an engine operates, but it's not every day that you can have a look inside. Also, using a high-speed camera gives you a good view of how the mixture ignites, of when you have misfires, and I'm not sure what's happening there, whether there's not enough fuel, or we're losing spark along the way. Regardless, you clearly see all of it happening. We can, of course, fire it up, allow it to run, and check to see how long it lasts. But since we are dealing with, the material is known as liquid glass, but as a matter of fact, it's a polyester resin. And when it starts to become hot, it's gonna lose rigidity, and, it'll melt, stretch out. And the point of this video wasn't to torture test the resin. But despite the fact that it did crack at a certain point, that wasn't much of a problem for us. The engine was able to run regardless. And while it still runs, why don't you tell us in the comments what we can do with it? I'm sure we'll get plenty of suggestions as to what it might be good for. Hopefully someone suggests something interesting. So shoot, we'll go through them, and we'll think of something while it's still intact. And yeah, we got there, it's all good. Watch us, subscribe, send in your suggestions, comment, give us a big thumbs up. We saw it all, it was great. We did well, catch you guys later.